You said you were just going to check one thing, a quick scroll, then somehow it's 2:47 a.m. and you're watching a time-lapse of a turtle learning to trust again. You don't remember how you got there, but you feel nothing. Not joy, not peace, just that hollow humming feeling behind your eyes. And still, you keep scrolling. Your thumb moves like it has a mind of its own. You blink, another video, another reel, another person telling you how to live while dancing next to text that says, feeds you signs you're emotionally unavailable. Cats don't do this. If we're tired, we sleep. If we're bored, we knock over a cup. If we're overstimulated, we disappear under the bed for 6 hours. You scroll while sad, then feel worse, then scroll more. You call it unwinding, but your nervous system calls it war. Tiny glowing battles you lose one notification at a time. So today let's talk about it. Let's talk about why you can't stop opening that same 3 apps in a loop. Why it never feels good, but still feels impossible to quit. And why cats who have 0 apps, no Wi-Fi, and no concept of followers still seem more emotionally regulated than 90% of humans with a screen time report. Let's be honest, you don't even know why you opened the app. You didn't have a purpose. You weren't searching for anything. Your thumb just moved. Autopilot, muscle memory, nervous system on cruise control. You told yourself, I'll just check one thing, but your phone said, actually, here's a video of a woman making soup while talking about trauma bonding. And now it's been 27 minutes. Your soup is cold, and so is your will to live. This is not your fault, but it is your pattern. You loop Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram again. You refresh apps like they're slot machines. Maybe this time you'll hit something funny, something validating, something that makes you feel less like a person shaped out of anxiety and caffeine. But instead, you get this weird cocktail of envy overload. And why does that person's kitchen look like a magazine? You feel worse, so you scroll more because your brain tells you maybe the next thing will fix it. Spoiler, it won't. You think you're relaxing. You're not. You're flooding your brain with comparison performance and curated realities. It's like drinking salt water because you're thirsty. You don't feel full. You feel bloated. You call it a break, but really it's a breakdown in 15-second chunks. Let's talk about how you use social media like a vending machine for emotion. Feeling bored, open TikTok. Feeling lonely, open Instagram. Feeling insecure, open LinkedIn for some reason. Every app becomes a mirror, and every mirror lies. You don't just scroll, you absorb, you inhale other people's lives and exhale self-doubt. You compare your messy, beautiful, unfiltered moments to someone's third take with ring lighting. And yet, you keep going back because that tiny dopamine hit from one comment from one person saying, OMG, same feels like a hug until it doesn't. Cats don't need likes. We don't need comments. We stare at walls for hours and still feel good about ourselves. You on the other paw need the digital applause to feel seen, but applause fades and silence hurts louder. You post something, you check it again and again as if staring at the number will make it go up. You delete it if it flops, not because it wasn't true, but because it wasn't rewarded. You start thinking in captions. You live moments and wonder how they'll look on stories. You rehearse authenticity, you brand your personality, and you're exhausted. But you can't stop because deep down, you're not addicted to the content. You're addicted to the possibility that this next post, this next reel, this next spark might finally make you feel enough. And that's the cruel part. Social media promises connection, but gives you comparison. It promises freedom, but gives you loops. It promises fun, but gives you anxiety in pastel fonts. You think you're choosing to scroll, but really, you're avoiding something. Silence, stillness, that awful moment where you have to sit with yourself and realize you have no idea what to do if no one is watching. And that's not a judgment. That's just me, a cat, noticing how you flinch when the room gets quiet. You need distraction like a blanket because sitting with your own thoughts feels like too much. So you fill every moment with noise. But the noise never satisfies. It just keeps you from feeling how tired you really are. Tired of chasing attention. Tired of pretending you're okay. Tired of performing for people who forgot your post 5 minutes after liking it. Cats don't perform. We just exist. If we want attention, we knock something off a table. If we don't, we hide behind the curtain and ignore you for 2 days. You apologize for not posting. You say, sorry, I've been MIA, like you owe strangers an explanation. You feel guilty for logging off. You feel invisible when you're online. You feel drained either way. So you scroll, not because it feels good, but because stopping feels worse. Let's talk about your brain. You were not designed for this. Your nervous system didn't evolve to handle 700 faces before breakfast. It evolved for berry picking, for predator scanning, not for scrolling scrolling through 42 heat takes about a celebrity divorce while brushing your teeth, and yet here you are, looking into a tiny glowing rectangle, flooding your brain with information, opinions, photos, news, nonsense, and hoping to feel better. Spoiler, your brain is overwhelmed. Your dopamine receptors are fried. Your attention span is shorter than a squirrel's dream sequence. And that's not an insult, that's neuroscience. See, the thing about dopamine is it spikes not when you get the reward, but when you anticipate it. You don't keep checking your notifications because something happened. You check because maybe something did or will or could. That maybe is the drug. You refresh your feed like you're scratching a mental itch, but there's no satisfaction, just repetition. You're chasing a chemical loop designed to never finish. And the platforms know this. They're built for it. Notifications in red because red triggers urgency. Endless scroll so your brain never gets the I'm done signal. Autoplay so you don't have to make a choice. Just consume. These are not apps. They're slot machines with cat videos. And you're pulling the lever again and again and again. Cats don't do this. We get bored, we leave. We don't stay in the same window watching pigeons forever. We nap. We move on. We have emotional boundaries, even with our own curiosity. But you doom scroll through disaster, celebrity drama, and how to become your best self tutorials while still in your worst sweatpants. You don't even realize your thumb is moving. You zone out, you disassociate, and afterward you don't feel connected. You feel empty, tired, guilty for wasting time, but too drained to stop. So you scroll again because now you're anxious, and anxious people crave distraction, and distraction feels like relief until it doesn't. Let's not pretend social media is all bad. It's not. Sometimes it gives you community. Sometimes you laugh so hard you snort. Sometimes a random meme saves your day. But here's the trap. It gives you just enough joy to justify the spiral, just enough connection to excuse the exhaustion, just enough validation to make you ignore the damage. That's the genius of it. It never hits rock bottom. It just hums along, stealing your time in tiny dopamine-coated crumbs. You think you're choosing it, but most days you're not. You're reacting, you're numbing, you're avoiding silence because silence is when the feelings crawl out, and silence feels dangerous because you were never taught how to sit with it. You were taught to be productive, to be available, to be on, even at rest. So now your breaks are filled with noise. Your mornings start with scrolling, your nights end with glow-in-the-dark anxiety, and your attention span is trying to call HR. Even your joy is filtered. You don't dance because it feels good. You dance for a trend. You don't cry to process. You cry for a soft lighting confession video. You live for the replay value, for the engagement, for the metrics that measure your worth, like it's a content calendar. But what if you stopped not forever, just long enough to hear yourself think, to sit still without the itch, to feel bored without reaching for a screen like it's an EpiPen for existence? Boredom isn't dangerous. It's where real thoughts live. It's where creativity breathes. It's where your nervous system exhales for the first time in hours. And maybe that's the scariest part. Not the silence, but the self you meet in it. Because you've been avoiding that person. The one who's tired. The one who's confused. The one who doesn't have a 5-year plan or a perfect profile picture. The one who's real. That person doesn't get likes, but they deserve your attention more than any influencer ever will. So here we are. You came looking for tips, tricks, maybe a cheat code. Instead you got roasted by a house cat with commitment issues. Sorry, kind of. But I'll tell you this. You're not broken. You're not unlovable. You're just a little scrambled. Too many bad dates. Too many self-help podcasts. Too many YouTube thumbnails promising to unlock feminine psychology like it's a treasure map. You don't need to be cooler, or richer, or taller. You just need to be more. You. The you that isn't curating, that isn't chasing. The one that laughs at dumb memes and secretly cares way more than you let on. That guy, he's got a shot. Love isn't a strategy. It's not something you unlock. It's someone seeing your chaos and saying, yeah, that one. I'll take that one. And no, she's not dating your abs. She's dating your attention span, your curiosity, your ability to hold a conversation without quoting Joe Rogan. So breathe. You're not hopeless. You're just human. And take it from a cat who's watched 1,000 doomed flirtations from a windowsill. It's never as complicated as you think. Now go, pet something, text her back, touch some grass, or better yet, take a nap, then look in the mirror. Because you don't need a pickup line. You need a nap and a mirror.